guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today we are reviewing the new extension of the SOLMANE 2 collection from ODEN'S. The first SOLMANE 2 collection was one of my favorites and I can't believe that was 2 years ago. Like, literally, time is flying by so quickly. But this new extension consists of an eyeshadow palette, 3 blushes, and 3 highlighters. So we're gonna get into it today. So if you guys are curious about my thoughts on the new extension, then please continue watching. Alright, so this review is going to be a little bit more first impressions like, because I'm going to use the products and tell you my thoughts as we go through everything. I'm gonna show you 3 looks and then I'm gonna use a blush and highlighter with each look and kind of just give you my first thoughts on everything. But to just sort of break down the collection, this collection is not too big, but just to give you some product info, we do have the new SOLMANE 2 palette. This is called Moon or Wish and it goes for $32.90. It has a really good mix of finishes from the mattes, and some mattes have a little bit more shimmer in them, making them a little bit more satin-like. We of course have the beautiful metallic shadows, some are duochrome, lots of multi glitters, and the whole overall color story really suits the theme of the collection, which is literally called Moon or Wish. So everything is very galaxy star theme related, which is a very beautiful. I love this palette and I also love the original SOLMANE 2 palette. That collection was one of my favorites and I just felt so inspired from that collection. So it's hard to believe like that it was 2 years ago, because I'm still inspired by that palette. I still use that palette all the time for my colorful looks because I always just think of that palette, you know what I mean? So I actually really like SOLMANE 2 as well. I do think if you are looking for like a dark or winter sort of space galaxy type of palette, this color story is it. Overall, I would describe it to be blue, purples, and yellows, and that's really what it is. It's really beautiful. I really do enjoy this palette. It's probably my favorite out of the extension, honestly. Just a quick little overview before we like get into the first impressions portion, but let's talk about the blushers. The blushers do come in the same orange packaging. There are 3 shades. They go for $20.90 USD, and this time around we have 2 matte finishes and then 1 pearlescent finish. I love the previous blushes. They're more satin finish one. Love that formula, but for some reason this time around, maybe because the 2 matte shades, they are a little bit darker and just on my like light complexion. For me personally, I feel like these are a bit too dark, so that leads to it looking a little bit patchy on my skin, which leads me to not really loving them as much. I just found them a little bit hard to blend out, if I'm being honest, which I didn't have a problem with the previous blushes. So I don't know, I really don't know. Just from my first impressions thoughts, I think you're gonna see it on my face that I'm not like wowed by these blushes. Honestly, I didn't really love any of my blush combos that I did for any of my look. As for the pearlescent shade, this one, I feel like it needs more base to it because honestly it really is just glitter, which isn't a bad thing, but definitely not my preference. If I'm gonna wear like a non-matte blush, I would like it to be more like a satin finish rather than it just being like pure glitter on the face. Like time and place definitely, but the blushes I would say would have to be my least favorite out of the collection, which was surprising because I think these shades are really pretty. I just do think they are a bit too dark for my complexion and I just don't really see myself using these because they do look patchy on. But like regardless, I am glad that they have deeper blusher shades that they came out with, so that's always good to see them expanded. Then let's quickly talk about the Moonlight Feel highlighters. These go for $22.90 each. There are 3 new shades, and I will say some of these shades I actually thought was a repeat shade from last time. They actually give off a very similar vibe, and again I just felt like there was a difference. I don't know if it's me. Like sometimes when I review things and I don't like it but I previously did, I'm like, am I worthy of reviewing makeup? Because why is this not working the same as it used to? Because I still use the first original Moonlight Feel highlighters in my more glam looks, and I know they are a lot more glittery if you're going to compare them to Kaleidos' highlighters. Kaleidos is like my favorite colored highlighters, like period. Like I don't think you can top Kaleidos for me in terms of highlighters. But Oden's eyes were really pretty as well, but they are a lot more glittery, and for highlighter that's just not my preference, which again is totally fine. That's just me. But they did still have like a metallic base to them. But I found that when I was using these highlighters, maybe I just wasn't using enough to see that metallic base. But again, these are just very glittery, and I feel like they have no like structure to them, if that makes sense. Like especially the ones that are flipped more multi-chrome, it just kind of looks like there's two streaks on my face. And I will say, you know, I personally don't wear highlighter. I haven't worn highlighter in years. So maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Maybe I don't know how to apply highlighter anymore. They're so pretty in the pan, and you can really see how much of a flip they have. But I was just slightly disappointed of how they looked on my skin. They were just a little bit too glittery for me. So in saying that, if you do love a glittery highlighter, then you would absolutely love these. Like these have a lot of micro glitters in there. And I actually ended up using 2 of these for eyeshadow, and I actually love that like way more. Like you can give me all the glitter and all the micro glitters on my eyes, but on my cheeks I'm not so much of a fan of. And if I'm going to use a highlighter, I want it to be a little bit more satin or metallic like. So yeah, with that being said, that was just like my quick rundown of all the palettes and my thoughts on everything. Just want to emphasize again that that is just a first impressions. I felt like these were a bit different from what I knew from the original blushes and highlighters. Or maybe my makeup style is just changing. My skin has been going through it, honestly. With that being said, I've been talking about the first impressions a lot. Let's just get into those first impressions. Let's get into the looks. So we'll start off with look 1. So here is the first look. We are going to be playing with more of the blues in the palette to create this really pretty mermaid pearl look. So first I'm starting off with the shade Dark Matter, and this is going to be our all over base color and transition. It's a really nice like mid-tone purple with a lot of little glitters that you can see shimmer through, but you can see from my other eye that this really is just going to act as a base because you're not gonna see this color too much. And now going into the shade Space, we're gonna start packing this on at the outer corner. This blue is so pretty, such a nice like cool tone midnight blue, and I think it layers really well on top of that purple. We're just gonna use it to deepen out the eye look. And then taking it on a flat brush, I'm gonna use it to define my lower lash line, just mostly at the outer third, making it more straight, and then a little into the center here. Now we're going into this beautiful shade called Neptune and placing that right at the center of our eyes, and that's where the light is going to catch it first. It's such a pretty royal blue. And now we're taking Moon, and this is going on at the inner third of our eyes and also at the inner corner as well. Even on the lower lash line, we're gonna get there soon. But this in the pan looks like a champagne yellow, right? But I feel like once it's on the eyes, it has so much more dimension than just like a champagne yellow. There's like a bit of like a bluey tint to it underneath that ties in perfectly with this look, and it's like a really good highlighting shade for the palette. So again, taking that onto the lower lash just at the inner third. Then I'm going to be taking a silver glitter from Flower Nose. I'm lightly just going to dab some of this around that crease line to really emphasize my crease. I really like this technique on my eye shape because it really just defines my eye. And then to top it off, just taking this highlighter from Juicy. I'm actually going to use this as an eyeshadow because this is really finely milled like a loose little powder glitter. Very similar to the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb highlighter, but I just need a little fine dusting of this. I think this is just the finishing touch. Just on a really big fluffy brush, just like tapping this all over just to get like a little gleam, because this eye look I want to be very mermaid-esque, hence all the pearls, the wavy hair, don't have my bangs, like forehead is exposed, which I feel like I haven't exposed in a while. And then for blush, I'm gonna use a Lilac Mist. I'm gonna apply this to the tops of my cheeks. I feel like this blush is a little too dark on me, so I need to really blend this out, or it's gonna look a little crazy on me. I'm gonna have to like blend this in with some other colors, but essentially that is what the blush looks like. And then we're gonna go in with the highlighter Moon Tears, which, do I already own this? It's like a violet type of highlighter. You can see reflex of silver, purple, and a bit of blue. And that's pretty. But here is the third look completed. I do think the blush is a little bit overpowering with the eyes, but overall I think this look turned out really pretty. A lot of sparkles, very mermaid-esque, which was the goal for this look. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the first look. Now for the second look. This one is inspired by a look I saw on Xiaohongshu. I just thought the colors was a really good combo, and the technique is just like a mix of all the shimmer shadows, which is really pretty. So this is the second look, a mix of purple and the golds in the palette. So first I'm gonna start off with the shade Dust. I'm gonna be using this as my base color, so just sweeping that all over my lids into my crease. Then going into the shade Universe, applying this quite high up, almost like under my brow bone, and highlighting that area. This eye look is really easy to do because metallic shadows, they just blend so well into each other. Then we're going into the shade Meteor. This is going at the center of our eyes first, because right now you can see the center catches the light first. And I really want this gold to come through, so I'm just going to place it at the center using wiping motions, really just blending everything in together. I also do have a clean blending brush that I'm just using to mesh it all. Now we're going into Pluto, and we're gonna place this right next to Meteor, just for another hint of purple on the eyes. It's very, very subtle. Now we're going in with a Lunar Eclipse, and I'm going to press this up against my waterline. I'm gonna keep this darker purple quite close to the lash line. Then I'm taking a mixture of Planet, the lighter purple, and then Satin, the chocolate brown, and using the tip of a pencil brush, I'm gonna use that to soften out and blend out that lower lash line. Then going in with Mercury, I'm gonna apply this to the center of my lower lash line. This is going to act as a base for some more pressed glitters that I'm gonna put on top. Now we're taking the shade Moon, and this is going to be our inner corner highlight. I'm really gonna mesh that into the gold. I'm gonna take a little bit at the inner corner right here on the lower lash. I'm now gonna take the highlighter in Light Glory. This is like a multi-chrome shift. You can see in the mirror it's like a completely different color. So it's like a gold, yellow to green, I would say. So I'm gonna use a little bit of this on my eyes to give us just even more dimension that we can possibly get. And it kind of shifts a little bit more purple on my eyes. I think it's really, really pretty. I think a lot of these highlighters would be so pretty as eyeshadows. For blush, we're gonna take Pink Bloom, which is like a muted dusty rose. Yeah, I think slightly just like a shade too dark for me personally. I mean, it's great that they are doing more deeper shades for their blushes, but on me, I think it's a bit too dark. And then just going back into the highlighter Light Glory, I'm gonna apply a little to my cheekbone so you guys can see what it would look like for its main purpose. I think on the cheeks it definitely pulls a little bit more like peachy, like those little reddish rose gold shimmers come through. And then you see a bit more of that yellow. There's a bit of green here as well, like a lime green. And now for the final look, we're gonna be doing a more purple and a gold look. And I think this one would have to be my favorite. So starting off, I'm going in with the shade Dark Matter. This is going to be the base color for our eye look. So I'm placing that pretty much all over my lid, up into my crease. And I actually really like this lavender shadow because of the little sparkles that it has. It makes the shadow a little bit more satin-like, and it just blends out so easily. Also gonna sweep that onto the lower lash line. I'm gonna actually take it quite low, so using a more fluffy brush. I'm really just gonna dust this all over. Going into the shade Lunar Eclipse. Gonna start tapping that on at the outer corner to deepen out the eye look. This is the most perfect true purple. And then of course the same on the lower lash, just using a more defining brush. I'm gonna press that up against my waterline. We're gonna focus this at the outer corner. And using a pencil brush, using the tip of it just to blend that out a little bit more. Now we're going into the shade Moonlight. This is going on at the center of my eye. I think using a finger for this is better. Yes. You're gonna see that blue a bit more. This is really pretty. It has like a blue to purple duochrome flip. Now we're gonna go into Meteor, and I'm gonna place that right next to the blue. Sort of just like blending them into each other. And now going into Moon, I'm gonna be placing that like right at the inner corner here, and then also to highlight my inner corners a little bit more. This kind of meshes in with all the other shadows, like it has a yellowy undertone, but the reflex are quite bluey, so it really does pair well with all the other shimmers that we already have on. Now going in with Star, I'm gonna use this to highlight the inner third of my lower lash line. The yellow you definitely need to build up, because on my under eyes I don't have primer, it's just set with powder. So it doesn't show up as well if you were to use a primer, but it is like a true butter yellow. Then I'm gonna go in with Legend. I'm gonna use this as an eyeshadow just because I don't have enough cheeks to show you this as a highlighter, but it is a beautiful multi-chrome. Like you can see in the reflection in the mirror maybe that it goes green. So I'm gonna apply that on my under eye bag at the center. This has a lot of dimension. There's so much like dimension in that one highlighter. Like I see pinks, I see blue, purple, a little of everything. And then to make that stand out more, I am just going to use a egg cell liner. And now for the final blusher, this is Solar Eclipse, and although it's in the orange packaging, it is a shimmer. The other two we used were matte, and it's actually like half and half. This side is actually like a duochrome, multi-chrome, and this side is just like a shimmery side. And yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna use this. I was thinking maybe I might just use it as like a blush topper. So I have a brush like this, and I don't know, I'll just use like a bit of both sides and just kind of go over my cheek. But I feel like it's not giving. We'll use it like a normal highlighter because I feel like that wasn't really doing anything. Just gonna swirl it in the middle. You know what it is? I think it's just that these highlighters are just so glittery, and I prefer a metallic highlight. Yeah, so that's just gonna give like a little bit of gleam and shimmer. So this is what Solar Eclipse looks like on my cheeks, just like a fine dusting. Kind of gives a really nice sheen to the cheeks. And then again, Star Legend on my YESJUDY, just so you can see a little bit closer. And here is the final look completed. My favorite look probably out of 3. I feel like this look just represents the palette the most. With the purples, blue, and yellow, that's just the color story of Moon Wish. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this final look as well. Alright guys, so those were the 3 looks. So let me know which look was your favorite down below. Again, I think the 3rd look, this one here, was my favorite, but I did like experiment a little bit, especially with look 2. I feel like that was a little bit of an experiment, but regardless, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on this collection. Are you going to be picking it up? Did you already pick it up? Because I feel like I'll be posting this after it goes live. Let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to know and chat with you. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, if you found it helpful, if you could give the video a thumbs up for me, I'd appreciate it so much. But with that being said, that is going to conclude today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching as always. I love you so much, and I'll go ahead and see you in my next one. Bye!